So far, the end of December and the beginning of January has been a great month for NFTs and crypto. If you're feeling a little bit of FOMO, if you're starting to feel really bullish, if you're starting to feel like you want to start dumping money into the market, let's discuss. Let's go over my thoughts. Let's go over a few charts. Let's go over the Ethereum chart, and we can go from there. Over the past, I would say about a month, since mid-December to about mid-January, we have seen Ethereum go from something like $1,200 to like $1,400, which may not seem like a lot, but for a multi-billion-dollar asset, that is a ton of money coming back into the market. We have also seen a bunch of NFT collections pump 2, 3, 4, 5x and are making a lot of people a lot of money. And for the most part, it's really hard to predict anything when it comes to these markets. But one thing that we've seen fairly consistently, at least since I've been in this space, is the end of December and the beginning of January can sometimes be a bullish month overall. And I think that has to do with tax stuff, and I think that has to do with a bunch of different macro factors, but I also think it has to do, at least in some part, to human psychology, and it just being a brand new year and people looking to invest and make money and potentially change their life for the better at the start of the new year. So first, we're gonna go over a couple collections that have done really well recently. Then we're gonna go over two different articles about job reports as well as CPI, which are all super important. If you're an investor in NFTs, if you're an investor in crypto or stocks or gold or whatever it is, these are things you need to be watching. Whether you're in the United States or out of it, it all affects these global markets, and it's something you absolutely need to keep your eye on. So what we're looking at right now is the 4-hour chart for Ethereum. And over the past week or so, we have seen a pretty steady shift in momentum and price for crypto assets in general. Bitcoin is now above $19,000. Ethereum is now easily above $1,400, right around that middle range, and things are looking fairly positive. What I will say is when the momentum shifts like this, you get a lot of people FOMOing, you get a lot of people going from bear to bull to perma-bull, and I just want you guys to be careful. Right now is still the time to play things generally fairly safe. That is my plan. I am sticking to it. So at the very end of 2022, I kind of turned off my dollar cost averaging just because of taxes and stuff like that. I didn't want to be continuously pumping money into the market, but now I am going to be turning that back on. So on a bi-weekly or weekly basis, I'll be putting a little bit of money in. We all know what dollar cost averaging is. I talk about it all the time on this channel, but this is a great example as to how it can be very powerful. If you had been buying since late October, early November, throughout this entire kind of sideways movement, now that we're starting to finally see movement to the upside, you would definitely be in the green at this very moment. So if you wanted to, you could take short-term profits. Obviously, taxes would eat into that, but it just goes to show doing the boring thing, doing the long, patient play definitely can pan out in your favor. So I think we're all going to be watching this Ethereum chart with bated breath just to kind of see how it pans out throughout Q1 of 2023. And for all we know, it could continue to be fairly bullish. What I will say is momentum sometimes is hard to stop. Sometimes people will pile in, and that can only continue the upward pressure. People start to place leveraged longs on the market, which provides more and more upward pressure. And so we'll see what happens. But regardless, my strategy is staying the same. I'm dollar cost averaging. Please be careful if you're feeling any sort of type of FOMO. Make sure you have an allocated amount that you're willing to invest this year or this month and stick to it. So inflation data came in a couple days ago, and it is almost exactly where people predicted it would be. It has fallen a little bit, and that is overall good for markets. Consumer prices increased 6.5% from a year earlier, down from 7.1% in November, and the 40-year high of 9.1% in June. If you remember a couple months ago in June, when everyone was freaking out about inflation, we had that spiraling death spiral of crypto prices. This is good news overall, but still we have a long way to go to get to that 2% Fed rate target. So with CPI data coming in around 6.5%, I think it is fairly safe to say it's going to be a very important meeting for us as investors February 1st when the Fed meets and we start to figure out what they're going to do with interest rates and how soft or hard they're going to be on the markets. That is greatly going to affect our Ethereum price, our Bitcoin price, our NFT prices in general. If people feel like Feds are going to be hawkish and harsh on the markets, then people aren't going to have nearly as much confidence to invest in these risk assets. So while CPI data is positive today, we really need to be on the lookout for February's Fed meeting because that's going to drastically affect what the market does. At the moment, it's pretty obvious that the market is feeling a little bit more bullish. NFTs are up, crypto's up, and so it's pretty easy to tell where the market sentiment currently is. So we're just at the very start of 2023. So I implore you guys to practice patience, have an investment thesis, and we're just going to continue to take our time throughout this entire year. If you spend all of your money too early, you're not going to have any liquid capital to take advantage of any historic capitulations that we could see in 2023. We could see a sub 1,000 ETH again. We could see a sub 15,000 Bitcoin again. Those are all possibilities. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I kind of do because I would love those dumpster prices to get more exposure. But at the moment, the dollar cost average strategy, I still think is the premier strategy for this unknown, uncharted territory of 2023. So far, it's been a great month for NFTs in general. About a month to 2 months, we've seen NFTs, quite a few NFTs go 2, 3, 4, 5x. So if you had the foresight to play into this January bullish narrative, there definitely was money on the table for you to make. Obviously, that takes a certain level of conviction, but the opportunity was there nonetheless. Overall, I think we're starting to see the market mature in general, where people are putting less money towards unknown anonymous founders with basically no roadmap towards collections that are more established with teams active on Twitter and Discord building things. I think we're starting to see money consolidate more at the top with these more high tier collections, these more blue chip collections. And I think overall that is a sign of maturity in the space and overall bullish for the space in general. But a few examples of this, and I talked about some of these collections in a past video only a handful of days ago. We've seen Steady Stack Titans go from slightly under 2 ETH to about 4 ETH. We've seen Beans go from under 1 ETH to over 2 ETH. We've seen Sappy Seals go from under 1 ETH to almost 2 ETH. We've seen Azuki do some crazy things as well, hovering around 10 ETH, going to upwards of almost 20 ETH again, which is crazy in a market like this. A collection going from 10 to 20 ETH in a bear market is absolutely insane. We've also seen captains come out, the Meanland captains. I would talked about that in a few videos ago, and they basically came out around 7, 6 Ethereum. Now they've settled around 5.2, 5.5 Ethereum, which is incredibly strong. And I think they've had over 10,000 Ethereum in volume since they minted only a handful of days ago. This reveal process is going to be at least a couple months. And so there's lots I think lots of room for growth for this collection. But you can see there's money sidelined ready to pounce on collections that people truly believe in, people that really think have good founders, strong founders, active founders, people that are genuinely here to push the space forward and build. So it's really hard not to get swept up in the FOMO and the momentum, but please be careful. Please take your time in these markets. I am definitely going to be sticking to my own strategy of dollar cost averaging. I had a few NFT plays here and there, but nothing major, just putting a couple shekels in, just trying to get some exposure to the market, just because it kind of made me feel it was nice to be able to get into a couple collections, maybe get out of a couple collections. I don't know. I like trading. I like being involved in the space, and having all my money sidelined is a little bit boring for me. But overall, that's what I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to be responsible with my stack of money. I'm trying to be thoughtful with my stack of money, and I'm trying to grow it as consistently and as safe as possible. So make sure over these next couple months that A, you're watching what the Federal Reserve is doing in the United States. B, you're watching crypto prices as well as NFT prices. I do think a lot of NFT people aren't plugged into really crypto at all, but you definitely need to be. There's so much opportunity there. There's so much money to be made there that I think it's a huge missed opportunity if you're not dipping your toes into both ecosystems. So take these opportunities that are happening in January, potentially in February, potentially in March, in stride. Make sure you have an investment thesis. Make sure that you're in the right Discords. You can check out mine in the description below. We've been doing really well recently. If you're looking to sign up, we do have a few spots available, but make sure that you've positioned yourself in a good place to take advantage of these opportunities, because who knows, 2023, this Q1 bullishness could be fleeting. We do not know. So if there's an opportunity on the table, you want to make sure you're in a position to be able to take advantage of it, as well as have the skills, foresight, and knowledge to be able to take profits so you don't end up holding the bag. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do think this month is going to be a fun month for us in the ecosystem. Make sure to keep your ear to the ground. Make sure you're in the right Discords. Once again, you can check out mine in the description below, and we will go from there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, share it to people who you think would like to be involved in the space. I like to think that I share decent information in a very digestible way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video. Peace.